Hey, what's up, dudes? What's up? How you been? Where have you been? Where have I been? Rocking TH2. And this sort of weird Strat that a buddy of mine owned and owns. And let me check out. It's not one of Bobby's. It's another guy. This is an interesting guitar, well, for a couple of reasons. One, it's the 60th anniversary, so it has that, like, 60th anniversary Strat plate on the back and that little, like, badge, you know, up on the back of the headstock there. It designates it as a, you know, as a 60th anniversary. And, of course, it's available in the 60th anniversary finish. That's the Blizzard Pearl. And the pickguard isn't white, it's parchment, which is a nice look. He's changed a lot of things in it. The gears are Grover, mini Grovers. So I think they had the stock, like Ping style fenders, put Grovers in. It looks to me like the nut has been changed and a bone nut has been put in. It's a heavy guitar. In fact, I threw it on the scale before I came on here, and it weighed 8 pounds, 11.5 ounces. So that's almost 9. That's pretty, 8 3/4 pounds. Pretty heavy. And then the last thing is, you know, the stock pickups are gone. I'm sure you can see that from there. These are the Seymour Duncan pickups. So it's the Hot Rails in the bridge, and then the vintage rails in the middle and neck positions. And I really love these vintage. I like them all. I mean, the Hot Rails is a typical, you know, rock sound that you're going to get through any humbucker. And it is a humbucker. I mean, that's why the whole point. It's like a little mini humbucker in a single coil form factor. But then when you add the middle one, you can hear the brightness. Here's the bridge. Here's the bridge with the middle. I mean, right away you can hear a drop in distortion versus right, just right there alone. And then here's the middle. Again, a real nice, you know, middle pickup. The overlooked middle pickup, right? we love pairing it up with the bridge and with the neck, but by itself, it's always overlooked. Here's the middle with the neck. And then here is the neck. That's got a nice vintage tone to it. But unlike a regular single coil, there's no hum. check it out with something a little bit cleaner. That obviously was a plexi, I think dimed all the way across. I mean, like literally every knob maxed out. This is a blackface. And this is I think it's the simplest rig I have in there. If for you TH2 owners, it's Factory Bank 2, sound 01.1, pure black. So that's these two, you know. Here's just the neck. What a difference in sound, you know. Versus really like the bell on that, you know. G. And this is, if you know TH2 and you have it and you're looking at it, you can see it's just a head and a cab. And that ambience you hear right there, that's literally built right into the cab impulse response. So I noticed that the neck on this is a little thicker than my guitars. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger C shape. And what do we have here? Something a little bit. I think I just put it out of tune. See, there's a little trick to stretch out every string. The windings on this are pretty bad. I should do a video on how to wind windings, because this is like ridiculously atrocious. It's funny, when I worked at the music store, we just had a reunion here at my house. It was pretty awesome. We put on quite a spread. And but when I remember when we worked there, a guy came in, and you know, the owners, you know, they were certainly businessmen, but they weren't, you know, one guy was more than another. I think a little bit. He was like a drummer. The other guy played like a little bit of harmonica and stuff, but not really, you know. I mean, but they did a string change. It was like on a 12 string too, and the guy showed up, was like, unacceptable. Those windings look terrible. The guy was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, that looks really bad." And so I think the guy who did it was, you know, a little insulted. And he was like, "Well, you know, if you're so good at it, why don't you just do it yourself?" He's like, "Well, because I'm paying you to do it." You know, he goes, "Well, if you can't do it, then how can you complain about mine?" He goes, "Oh, I can do it. I'm just farming it out to you, and I want you to do a professional job." And so he came to me, and he's like, "You know, does that really make a difference?" I said, "Actually, it kind of does. Because if your windings are sort of all over the place, it leaves room for them to tighten down when you don't want them, at least when you least expect it, and you're out of tune. So a nice, even winding does definitely make a difference. So he gave it to me, and he said, "Okay, well, show me what a good winding looks like." And I did them all. He goes, "All right, that does look better." All right. He's like, "Well, congratulations. Now you're going to restring all the guitars." I'm like, "Fine." Beats dealing with homeless people and crazy people all day. Not all day, but it does seem to attract a certain crowd. Yeah, I thought that sounded a little flat. There we go. Now the B sounds flat, doesn't it? It is. Yeah, see this thing? What it is that there's, yeah, look at this. Is all, I tuned this right before I came on here. These are all flat because when I bend the strings, I'm pulling some of the slack out that's around this, around the posts. And as it tightens up, it gets a little flatter because it, pulls it out a little bit. Yeah, these are pretty bad. And, the higher ones could definitely use more windings. It's got like 2 wraps on the high E. You're never going to get good contact with, doing that. And then he's got like 150 million windings on the low E, which they're all on top of each other like a beehive. Sorry, what the hell do you call that monstrosity? But I love these pickups. These Duncans, I mean, that's a pretty good vintage sound, for a Rails guitar. And then, of course, when you get to the bridge, there goes the glass, right? Glass goes away, and it's all punch after that. I have one more here that's probably got... Yeah, I like it. We were talking there. You see that running around Facebook? All the songs that are a 1-5-6-4, so so there's the 1 chord, and of course 5 would be here, then 6, then the 4. Where's the 4? Right there. 4. Not the flat 3. That's like the basis of about 150 billion songs. To the 5 chord, to the minor 6, to the 4. And songs you wouldn't even think are even remotely related, but when you hear it, there's a band from Australia, something Awesomeness, the Band of Total Awesomeness or something. And they do a great spoof on this, and they show all the different songs that this progression makes up. Yeah, a buddy of mine listed a whole bunch the other day. I was laughing at all the different songs. What do we have here for decent sounds? Maybe something a little heavier. See, when you go up, so that little squeal. All the mid-range that comes out of this. And then you get the honk out of the front. So anyway, let me just find a good patch and we'll leave it on this one. I think there's a solo one. Something with solo in it somewhere. Is it this one? No, that sounds a little too much. Maybe this one? Yeah, because it's got a reverb. Let me just find that reverb here. Here, I'll cut the reverb down to like 10%. Yeah, I like that patch. Which is that the Ecstasy amp? It is. It is. So for you guys with TH2, it's a factory 2 on 09.5. Yeah, I like that one. So, you know, we're trying to plan more videos coming up. I probably have a few friends who are going to make it over at some point. Scheduling conflicts. You know, I was planning, I had the reunion for the music store yesterday, actually, no, Sunday. And that went great. But, you know, all the painting and planning and, you know, setup and all that, it's just been so crazy. But now that's over. And got a little bit of work still on the table that's sort of heating up, but it might be calming down a little bit soon. I've had a busy summer. This is the busiest summer I can remember in I don't know how long. So it was good to see those guys while we were all joking. You know, a lot of them are working musicians. So this one guy shows up, this guy Joe, and they're like, "Hey, you want to do a jam?" He's like, "No, I'm all out of notes." He's like, "Last night I played them all, played every note, got none left." Now, one of the guys there, he very famously, we used to zoo him all the time because he always had the great story about how he bought a 57 Strat for $600. And he just sold it this past spring at auction. And I think they got $18,000 for the guitar, but, you know, he only gets like $15,000. Like the buyer had to pay $18,000, but I guess $3,000 is kept by the auction house on the buyer's end, and then they paid him like 13,500. They keep like, whatever, 1,500 on his end. So he walked away with 13,500, which is pretty good, on a $600 investment. We were talking about it last night, and a very small window of guitars that will command that kind of money. And it's like a 19.5X or a 19.6X, and then beyond that, it's very hard to find a guitar that's going to pull in those kind of bucks, unless it was owned by somebody famous. But just the pure guitar, no, famous connection or anything like that, like was owned by Jimi Hendrix or Eddie Van Halen or whatever. Barring that, it's hard to find guitars that sell in the tens of thousands. Really are. They really max out around $8,000 to $9,000. Probably could have got more if he went to a trade show, but then he has to risk getting robbed of it, and not being able to make a deal. But there are vintage shows you can go to, and people show up with suitcases full of cash, looking to make a deal. I gotta. At some point, I have to do a video and talk about. One time, I did go to a guy's house, who had a lot of vintage instruments, and I couldn't really play them. I wasn't there to like touch his, equipment and look at his various guitars. They were pretty high end. I mean, I don't think he brought a guitar out that wasn't worth $4,000 or $5,000, and a lot of them were north of 10,000, just because they were vintage. They were certain years, so I didn't even ask. He was bringing out all kinds of crazy things, but I'll have to get into that because he had so much stuff. It was such a weird situation. He was like the last guy I would think to have a vintage guitar collection, but there it was. He had it. He had like every year you could imagine. I mean, he was just bringing out guitar after guitar after guitar. It was pretty amazing. But anyway, that's a story for another time. How's that for a tease? All right, I should call it a night. Get going here and head off to bed. So, because it's pretty late, as always. All right, guys. I will be back, hopefully sooner rather than later. And got all kinds of stuff in the works, and we'll talk soon. You can tell I'm kind of beat. All right, man. Rock on. That's a Blizzard Pearl. There's those pickups. Pretty sweet. All right. Later.